I promise you.
All right, you guys, full disclosure Friday. Welcome back. Matt and Kelly Lee holding it down, talking about all things real estate and maybe some other things too.
Who knows? We get off on tangents all the time. So September 18th, first day, I think it's felt like fall.
Oh my God, I woke up, so I had to wear flannel, you guys, because I woke up and we live up here in the hills and it was like very crisp and cool. I think it was like in the 50s this morning.
And the air was good.
Blue skies.
And smoke. Hopefully people are escaping the smoke as best they can. Hopefully these fires get squashed here soon. So
anyway, you guys, so we are going to be talking about a topic that is coming up a lot lately, especially because of COVID and all that kind of stuff. You see a lot of people wanting to kind of get a little bit of space. You've seen a huge migration of people from the Bay Area, from urban areas, from even suburban areas moving to the country, getting a little bit of acreage, a little bit of space, and we are perfect people to talk about that because we did just in fact that.
We did it ourselves. So we've been inundated with clients, buyers looking to come up the hill, looking for property, half acre, acre plus, get some trees, get some space, don't necessarily want to be on top of their neighbors. So we've had question on top of question over the last several months since March. So we're here to answer every single question we possibly can and let you know kind of the ins and outs of moving the country.
Because it's not all sunshine and rainbows, and there's also things you need to know about. No, I mean it is, but if you're not prepared for what it entails, it can be, shocking.
So if you don't know, I was born and raised in the foothills, Auburn, Christian Valley area. So
I was not.
I am used to the country. Burn days, my favorite days of the year, better than Christmas for sure. Kel?
Not so much. So grew up in the suburbs, and then we moved into, when we lived in just south of downtown for quite some time, downtown Sacramento. And so when he wanted to move up to the country a couple years ago, he'd been talking about it forever. I really liked having a Starbucks a half mile away or Chipotle a mile away. I really liked our life, but he kept talking about it, and it just felt like a good move for us. And so
City girl was scared.
Yeah, I was very scared. So you guys, you see a lot of people doing this. With COVID, there's distance learning, distance work. You realize you don't necessarily have to be as close to your job as you once did before. Commute time isn't necessarily as big of an issue. Maybe you're going to work one day a week or you're a couple days a week. We've had people come from the Bay Area and they, super commute a couple days a week, and then they leave
on Tuesday morning, come back Thursday night.
And then they work from home the rest of the week. But there's so many options now, and I think we're all realizing that, you might as well kind of explore. If you've ever wanted to live in the country, now would be the time, right?
But it is definitely different than living in the city, and there's a lot of things to consider.
Totally.
So we had a lot of clients that are like, just think they're going to come from a condo, an apartment, or a small home that's 5 feet away from the next home, and boom, they can just buy a home and don't have to think about anything else. So there are some things to take into consideration that you have to be aware of, because honestly, living in the country is fantastic. I love it, but it is not right
for the faint of heart either.
It's not right for everyone.
No, it's not. And so one of the things you have to think of too, so in the city, you have city utilities, you have water, sewer, electricity, all straight to your house. Gas.
Yeah. For the most part.
For the most part, yeah. And it's very simple and easy.
You call the company and they just switch it over. If you buy a house there, boom, boom, you're done.
Yeah.
Minutes.
You don't even think about it. You flush your toilet, boom. You don't even think about how that happened.
So in the buying process down there, there's very few things to review as far as utilities or take into consideration.
Like the sewer line would be the only thing that you would pretty much need to.
Right. And even in newer homes, newer communities, it's not always as big a concern.
Totally.
So, but when you get up to the country, there's a lot of things to take into consideration. You have wells. So you might have city water, you might not have city water.
You might have a well.
You might have a well, so you need to understand how a well works. If your well is functioning properly.
The quality of your water.
Quality of your water. Does it have E. coli in it? Does it need a UV filter on it?
What is chloroform?
And these are things that actually we've come across.
Totally.
And
for ourselves too.
And even myself, like learning new things all the time. And I grew up in the country and it's like, oh, damn, I didn't even think about that. But those are things that could carry tremendous expenses and should be really, really thought about because they impact your health, they impact your way of life, your quality of living. Is your well producing enough water to support your home? Yeah, because we've looked at multiple homes just this week and a well produces 10 gallons of water per minute, and we've had one that produces 35 gallons of water. I mean, what does that even mean?
And if you have a big family, 10 gallons a minute is not going to suffice.
Might be tough sometimes.
It would be tough.
So, I mean, that's just one thing. And then you have septic systems. Down in the city, don't have to worry about that. And from a person that's actually been inside of a septic tank, it's disgusting, first of all. What is a septic tank?
Tell people what a septic tank is?
Anyways, what are leach fields? What does that even mean? Why do you even have to worry about them? It's a basic way to take care of human waste and filter it out. And that's in lieu of a main city sewer system.
And let me tell you, there are things you can and can't put in your toilet or your sink when you have a septic system. Let me tell you, from firsthand experience, we have a septic system, and these first few days we lived here, as I'm like literally flushing like cotton balls down the toilet.
Flush anything.
Yeah, I'll flush anything. I'm washing out paintbrushes in the sink. It was quite a boisterous conversation, a loud conversation between you and I. As I had to learn
It's probably aggressive, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, ins and outs of a septic system and what I can and can't put down.
Yeah, but also a septic system can be very, very expensive to repair and or replace in the tens of thousands of dollars if it is shot. So something you need to know about.
And to make sure you get a septic inspection.
Absolutely get a septic inspection. And even if there's one from a couple of years ago, get a septic inspection. No idea what's going to happen with those, especially if they're not maintained and taken care of by a previous seller. So
absolutely. What else you got going on?
Oh.
Irrigation water, so if you have land, acreage, how is the acreage getting water? A lot of people have streams or things like that.
Yeah, it could be city water, it could be the county water, it could be the ag water. It could come from a lot of different sources. It could be coming from your well. How much does your water cost? If it's from the well, then you're not paying for the water. If it's from the city, how much, so there's a lot of varying costs there too. Is it going to be sufficient to do what you want to do with a property? Are you going to come up here to the foothills and be a farmer? Are you just trying to
grow a little garden like we did?
Yeah, exactly. Do you have water accessible to that? Or are you going to have to run lines for 300 feet to get to the garden?
And also, something you take for granted too is the cost of water. So we lived in Sacramento and it was, part of our utility bill. It was a very insignificant cost. Well, you move up to the foothills and water becomes much more expensive.
In some areas.
Well, in Colfax and in Meadow Vista, just speaking from personal experience, water is a certain amount of money, but because these are small water districts, when the state passed a lot of legislation years ago regarding the quality of the water, what the water had to be, these little water districts did not have the money to create the treatment facilities that were needed to meet the state standards. So they had to get loans, and then that in turn... What?
We're getting off on a tangent there.
Oh, I know, but it's good to know. You're paying a lot of extra money sometimes for water that, so when you're thinking about your nut to crack every month for your utilities, this is something to think about.
Right, and up here also too, you don't just have electric and gas. You could have propane, you could have geothermal systems, which surprisingly are more prevalent than even I thought they were. So you have to understand where your energy is coming from, how much it's going to cost. Is it going to run you $400 a month for propane in the winter months? Are you an all electric home up here? Because we purchased this home a couple years ago, had no AC, had no heaters in it. We had them installed, and a few months later we got our first PG&E bill, and man,
we almost vomited. I think we actually did a little bit.
It was aggressive,
to say the least.
Yeah.
So understanding all of this stuff, so asking the current owners, what are their utilities, getting copies of their bills is incredibly important. But you don't realize the cost of some of these things. Living in the country is amazing, and we're not in any way trying to keep you all away from where we live.
Oh, please come up.
But
you'll love it.
It's you need to do your due diligence in terms of your investigation, and that's what Matt and I would help you do.
Okay, a couple other things to think about too. Insurance is a huge topic in the state, obviously. Fire insurance, home insurance. Obviously, we have a lot of issues with fires in California, more so in heavily wooded, forested areas. Can you get fire insurance? What are the fire insurance, home insurance premiums? Are they going up? Are insurance companies writing new policies or renewing policies? And we've seen every single situation possible.
So the state has, there's a thing called the California Fair Plan. So everybody can get fire insurance.
Right.
The question is it affordable? Can you afford it? Is the big question.
Yeah, because there's a lot of companies that they might write policies, maybe USA or State Farm or Farmers. They'll write policies in Auburn or parts of Mel Vista, but they won't in Weimar or Colfax or Alta Sierra or up in Grass Valley. So you have to understand where you're at and who your resources are to make sure when you're looking at a home, when you want to make an offer on a home, can you actually insure the home, first of all?
To be honest, it's very, very smart to get a fire insurance quote for the house you want to make an offer on before you make an offer. Because it can be one of those deal breakers. I had that house in Colfax a while ago in the winter, and we got an offer the very first day, and then within a couple days we had the buyer cancel because they found out that they couldn't afford the fire insurance, that they were on such a tight budget that the cost of the insurance was prohibitive to them.
Right, so you got to take that into account when you're getting pre-approved for a loan and you're working with your lender, and you're used to insurance that's say $1,000, but you come up here and it's $3,000. That is a huge difference for your monthly nut to crack. So, working with our buyers, we're very communicative about that and make sure they understand what they're trying to do and what they're getting into.
And the thing that really helps, and this is like the perfect segue, it's like a news segment segue, that helps you with your fire insurance is maintaining your property. And that is something that you don't even realize is a little more difficult than you think. I had no idea when we bought these 3 acres the amount of labor-intensive work that was going to go into maintaining it.
She has done some crazy amount of work too. I'm not even just saying that.
I literally
she's beasted up some.
But the first few months, this property hadn't been maintained for years. We were raking and cutting and burning. I felt like Laura Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie. I was like, I don't know what we're doing up here. It was traumatic.
I've never seen it.
It was totally. But you guys, once you kind of get that first maintenance, it's not so bad.
Right.
But you have to know that it's going to be a lot of maintenance. Either you do it and it's labor intensive and time intensive. We love it. It's very cathartic to us. Or you need to pay somebody to do it, to maintain the grass, maintain the weeds, cut the branches.
Make sure your property is fire safe.
So, think about all of those things.
But burn days are a lot of fun if you do them responsibly and you're smart about it.
Matt literally went out and bought burn day outfits, you guys.
I love it.
Like legitimately went to Tractor Supply
bought a new chainsaw,
outfits.
bought some new yard
got
tools.
His cowboy boots on. He is burning.
Don't hate.
But it makes it fun, you guys. So anyway, we hope this helped a little bit in terms of thinking about all these things. And it's very important when you are thinking about purchasing a home in the country to make sure that you have a realtor that understands all these things, understands how to read a well report, understands what a septic inspection is.
And there's a lot of other things too. I mean, we're just covering some of
it. It's so many things.
Understanding how to read surveys of a property, plat maps. I mean, is your home a modular home? Does it have a HUD plate if it was built after 1976 that a lender could lend on? So there's a lot of different things. Easements up in the country are important too. So you have to have a great understanding.
Property lines.
Your realtors, yes. Property lines.
Crazy up here.
We could have a whole discussion.
That's a whole nother discussion.
So you make sure that your realtors understand everything that goes into moving to the country, because it is significantly different than living in the city.
But let me tell you, it is magical. It is magical. It is worth every ounce of effort and every dollar spent.
And make sure you have a generator if you move up here, because
oh yeah, God, that's a whole other thing.
Winter, lose power, summer, rolling blackouts, so
fall,
spring,
anytime,
for no reason.
Anyway,
all right,
you guys. I hope you have a great weekend. We are pretty excited. We get to hang out with some old friends this weekend that we haven't seen in years, so pretty pumped about that. The weather's gonna be cool, fresh air, so soak it up. If we have no idea what we're going to be talking about next week, but let me tell you, it's going to be good and it's going to be fun. And we love your comments. We love your feedback. So let us know if there's something you would like us to talk about. We would love to talk about it.
Absolutely.
All right, you guys. Have a great weekend.
All right. Bye.